Hi, I'm Bob Saul from Lithofin, and today we're having a look at polymer removal from the surface of this polished tile. In some cases where you might have had a callback and your client maybe is struggling to maintain the floor, or maybe you've got some smeary marks or it almost appears a bit oily looking, what you may have is a polymer smear or a polymer layer that has just been left on the surface from the installation. Fairly easy to deal with and remove, and it just may consist of a couple of washes over. So the product we're going to look at to remove polymer is Lithofin Intensive Cleaner. So this is an alkaline product, and this hopefully will break that polymer smear down. If you're unsure of what's going on with the tile, if you've got some spare tiles, bring a spare tile in, literally feel the surface, and it should feel nice and smooth. Sometimes you can wet your fingers slightly and just rub across that spare tile, and then go onto one of the tiles, wet your fingers and almost start to rub. Now what you might find is it almost feels sticky or rubbery, and that is that polymer smear that's been left over from the installation. In some cases what you might be able to do is just rub really hard. You might almost get like a rubbery substance come up, and then catch it in the right light, and you may be able to see literally where you've rubbed your fingers. I've got a small clip that I can show you just doing that test. You can see here from rubbing just a damp finger, and if you just keep rubbing in the same spot and then brush that away, you can often catch that in the right light, and you will be able to see where you've removed the polymer. You can see two where I've done this here, and that is that light polymer on the face of the tile that we've now just literally rubbed away, and that's basically what we're going to break down in this video. Okay, so you can see I'm catching it in the right light where, although the floor looks, there's no grout residue on the floor, you've just got this polymer smear that we just need to remove, so your client will be able to maintain the floors a lot easier. So again, we're going to use the intensive cleaner, and the tools I'm going to do to work for the test, or to complete the test. I've got a pair of gloves, I've got a sponge, I've got a scrubbing brush, I've got a white emulsifying pad with a hand holder if you've got one, and I've got a white towel, so once we've rinsed up I can just quite easily dry these towels off. So with the polymers, what we're going to do, we take our couple of buckets, one with some fresh water in, and I'm going to use a dilution quite strong at 1 to 3 on these polished, because we've got no texture to the finish. Nice, it should be nice and easy, but I'm going to go in at 1 to 3. So I've got 1 part of the product and then 3 parts water. Use a small cup if it's easier for you, just to get those dilutions about right. Okay, and what we're going to do is, because it's quite high alkaline, pair of gloves just to protect your hands. And what we're going to do is we're going to generously apply this product, and we're going to keep it on there for maybe 10 minutes, and maybe even 10 to 15. If you're finding it's really rubbery, maybe keep it on there for the 15 minutes. The whole point of this test is that will hopefully tell us everything. So apply generously, literally, so you can push the product around. Okay, we don't just want to wet it with a cloth, we literally want to be able to push the product around. Once you've applied it, like I say, maybe 10 minutes. If it's heavier, that might need to go on longer, even up to 15-20 minutes. Certainly on the textured tiles, sometimes they take a little bit longer. But we'll go for a 10-minute application on this one. You may even need to bring your dilution. This is the importance of completing this test. If this didn't work at this dilution, you've still got polymer on there, I would probably bring that maybe even down to 1 to 1 for 15 minutes. So it's just that's the importance of getting this test right. Once we've got this right, we can then work the rest of the floor in controlled sections, knowing exactly how to remove that polymer. Okay, so what we're going to do, we've got it nice and wet, and we are literally going to start scrubbing with the pad. And of those 10 minutes, we need to be scrubbing this every minute. Okay, you can't just apply the product, leave it for 10 minutes, come back to it, rinse it. It's not going to do anything. As this alkaline starts to break the polymers down, you are almost mechanically taking them away, removing them. Again, if you've got larger areas to do, again, you can complete the test by hand. But if you have got larger areas, bigger residential homes or even commercial floors, you could use a machine, 17-inch machine with a white pad with some weights on it. And obviously when we come to rinsing it up, you could use wet vacs. Even in residential, a wet vac will be a huge time saver for you because obviously when you see we're rinsing it up, we've got quite a bit of water to remove. Okay, so we're giving that a scrub every 30 seconds to a minute maybe. And I'll carry on for 10 minutes giving this a scrub, and then we'll come back, we'll rinse it up, towel dry it, and see where we're at. Okay, so we've now had this going 10 minutes and we'll just give it its final scrub over. Now what we're going to do is we are going to rinse it up. Okay, so you've got your fresh water on your sponge. First of all, we'll take up the product as much as we can. Then into the fresh. You want plenty of rinsing water. This is why I was saying about a wet vac. If you come to do a larger floor, even a 25, 30 metre floor, if you've got a wet vac for the day, this will make this a lot easier just to literally, if you're working in 2-3 square metres at a time, you'll be able to wet vac this up very, very quickly. And it will save you a lot of time rather than sponging it up. It is possible to do by hand. I've done it many times, but a wet vac will certainly aid you in removing that. Again, more fresh water, second rinse, and we really want to give it lots of water so we can get rid of all the surfactants of that product. Okay. Okay. Last one, just take that up. Now I will always, once I've done these tests, I will go in with a white towel, and this is purely just because it'll dry these tiles a lot quicker and we can get a result quicker. Obviously we may need to leave the grout in the grout joint. That will take a while to dry out, but we're looking at the poly removal on the face of the tile. So like I said, this floor, if you've not had any issue with grout residue on the face, it's just been a bit stubborn because of this polymer. What we will do on this test is complete a second test now. And as soon as literally you've got this dry, you can have a look at it. Again, get your spare tile, put it down, feel that, rub against these tiles and make sure you've got rid of that smear. And if you're happy that's gone, belt and braces, what we'll do now is we'll get a fresh bucket of water and we'll complete this second test. And that's with the product Lithofin Ceramic Clean. Okay, so we've now going to complete the test with the Ceramic Clean. Now the Ceramic Clean is a light acidic product, which what we're doing is basically being belt and braces. We've removed the polymer, and if you are in any doubt that you may have a little bit of residue left, this light acidic wash, which I'm going to use on this polished at 1 to 3. Again, if you think there's grout on there, you may need to do that, but if you have a large amount of grout on there that you can see, follow the first video, which is the grout removal, and we'll get rid of that first, then you can deal with the polymer. But we're giving it a 1 to 3 dilution, so it's 1 part of the Ceramic Clean, and this just ensures, and our fresh water, we've got 3 parts. This just ensures that we have no trace of any cementitious residue left. And again, this is quite a quick wash. On a polished, I would probably only do this maybe 3 to 5 minutes. Again, we shouldn't be seeing any grout residue, but we're just confirming removal. Now, I've pre-wetted these joints, you know, from the clean with the intensive cleaner. If you were just using an acidic product, I would normally pre-wet those joints, but because they're still damp, you're not seeing any fizzing on these grout joints because they've been pre-wetted from the previous clean. But if you are just using the ceramic clean or any other acidic product, I would pre-wet the joints first. Literally, we're going to have this on nice and generous again. We're going to have it on 4 or 5 minutes, and I'm just going to scrub with the white pad every minute of those 4 or 5 minutes. I'll carry on doing this, come back to you, and we'll just get this rinsed up and finish off. Okay, so we've now had this on for our 5 minutes, and I'm fairly confident we've got no residue on there, but it is just that belt and braces just to remove any residues if they are there. So we're literally going to take this up now and get it rinsed. And again, it is an acidic product, a mild acidic product, so I need to give that a rinse a couple of times just so we ensure we get rid of all of those factants of the product. That's just in there. Okay, so fresh water. And be generous again with the wet vac. So much easier just to take this all back up with your wet vac. Rinse that a couple of times. And then we'll start to take that back up. Okay, again the white towel, and that will just take any of those residues, and we can start to dry the face of the tile very quickly and get a result. So you're happy with that. I'm now happy that we've removed any polymer. I can actually feel it in the tile. And we've just done the belt and braces for removing any acidic if you think there is any grout residue on there. But we would always complete those 2 tests, 2 products to confirm it, and we'll know then that we've got a bare tile, and we're happy then that client, or you're happy that they can then maintain this fairly easily. Okay, so if at any point on the polymer removal you are having problems at this test stage, just give us a call. So on any of the bottles, there is a number on the back, a technical line. So if you have any problems at this stage, stop, give us a call, and we'll have a run through with you to see where you're at. If you complete the test for the grout removal or the polymer, if you have to do that, if you need any instruction for your client on how to maintain the floor, you can put them in touch with us. All the products are available. So day-to-day cleaning on this tile would be Lithofin Conditioning Cleaner. So that's a day-to-day cleaner for porcelain tiles, streak-free, which will maintain these surfaces. You then might have a deeper clean required occasionally, and that's where you go back to the intensive. You can dilute that right up, and when the floor, you're mopping it through, if it gets too dirty, step onto the intensive, bring it back, and then you're back onto the conditioning cleaner. And if you are putting these tiles into wet areas, maybe, if you have issues with water marking or salts, then the ceramic clean is available, and that will deal with all those watermark type contamination. Again, if you have any problems, details are at the end of this video. The numbers are on the bottles. Give us a call if you have any problems, and we'll have a run through, get your floors back up and running. Thank you.